Hello, 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 everyone. This is the Hour of Power. Just want to say hello to everyone. We like to come on just a few minutes early to give folks time to get on and to share the video out. Hour of Power today is, for those who may not know, Hour of Power is a segment where we come on and we would just bring our conversations to the table. Usually when we meet during the week, we have a set topic that we're talking about. The Hour of Power gives you the opportunity to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk to. I want to say happy Sunday to everyone. I want to say happy Mother's Day to everyone. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. Recognizing that this day may be hard for some and easy for others. I want to just say happy Mother's Day. Hoping everyone is out there doing well. Hope everyone has a great day. Again, for those who are tuning into the Hour of Power, this gives you the opportunity to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. It could have been something that happened last week. Could have been something that happened last month. Could have been something that happened today that you want to get off your chest and you want to talk about. We're definitely giving you the floor to do that on today, okay? So everybody, we're going to give you, I like to come on a little early, a little early so we can give folks the opportunity to get on and greet everyone, say hello, hi Tasha, so we can give the folks time to get on and share the video. Hey Lolita, and just, kind of start the conversation then, okay? So I'm thanking everyone for being on so far. If you're able to share this video, this may help someone today. I have no idea what it is that we're going to be talking about, but on the up and up, it feels really good to know that you all are joining us today. So we'll have a conversation. We usually meet for about an hour of power, where we talk about whatever it is that is going on in your mind, what's happened through this week. How you doing, Eve? It's probably because my air conditioner is on. Can you hear me now? I'm sorry, I forgot I had my air conditioner on. Let me roll my windows down. Okay, let me turn the engine on. Okay, so again, can you hear me now? Is this better? Okay, volume is low. Can you all hear me now? Because I'll go out and start over if I need to. I think I had my AC on, so it definitely changed the volume. Can you all hear me now? That's probably better. I didn't have my headphones in. Maybe this is better. I have my headphones in now. So you all should be able to hear me a little bit clearer. Let me know. Let me know. Better. Okay. I'll take that. So again, hello everyone. Let me start over. Welcome to Hour of Power. Hour of Power is a segment that we have on Sundays at 6 p.m. where we talk about whatever it is that's come up for you this week. I want to stop and say, for all of you all who are mothers, happy Mother's Day. I hope you all are having a great day. Recognizing that this day is hard for some and easy for others. Definitely excited that you all joined us today. If you want to share this video, you're more than welcome to do so. But we like to get the conversation started. This is the day where you can bring your conversations to the table. Something that may have happened this week, this month, something that may have happened today, something trending in the news that may have disturbed you or may be something you want to get off your chest. We definitely open up the floor for that. So this is Hour of Power. I want to welcome everyone on here. We have about 3 folks, but I'm just as excited as if it was 25 people. Definitely recognizing that it is Mother's Day, so I do think that a lot of people would be with their mothers and hanging out and doing things to honor themselves if they are mothers. So definitely, if you're tuning in at a later moment after the live is over, we're so grateful for you tuning in, okay? So it's 6:01, and I want to start the conversation by addressing something that I addressed on my Facebook page. And then I want you all to give me some topics. I want you to kind of chime in. But one of the things that I want to put out there, and I don't know if anybody has gotten this, but on the last week or so, I have been getting a bunch of inboxes about a young lady. And you see her in the video, she's being hanged. And it's very, very disturbing. And I brought it up on my Facebook page because a lot of people were sharing it, and it was like, share it so we can capture, who is doing these things. And I think that, it was a positive thing for people to share it for that capacity. But also recognizing that everyone is not the same mental capacity. So you may be able to handle watching a video such as that, but I wasn't able to handle that. It was very hard to watch someone die in front of my eyes and watching that video. And I don't know if any of you all have received that video, but definitely I'm going to give you a heads up. If that video does come into your inbox, please use caution, because sometimes I think we forget that we're dealing with so many things, and in dealing with so many things in our personal lives, to see something like that happen so tragically, it instills a lot of fear, it instills a lot of pain, it instills so much that it can cause people to have breakdowns, and we can cause harm in sharing that video. So I want to put that out there, because I think I received it about 3 or 4 times, and it was just so gruesome, and it was so sad. And I don't know if you all have watched it, but I definitely will ask you to watch and guard your eye gates, because it definitely can do some damage if you watch it and you're in the wrong spirit. Even if you're in the right spirit, it has that type of power. So I want to put that out there, because we have to be mindful of what it is that we share on a regular basis. Sometimes that we share something on a page with good intent, and it can cause harm to other people. We have to be mindful of that. You know, we have to be sensitive to other people, just like recognizing that video was meant to go out so that people could be aware that this was happening, and to maybe try to identify a person that was in the video so that they could try to stop the crime. But it definitely caused a lot of harm. There were a lot of people who were sick. There were a lot of people who felt like how you doing, Karita? There were a lot of people feeling like they were not able to function because of that video. So we're just talking, Karita, about, and those who are just joining, we're talking about a video that's been going through the inboxes of a young lady being killed. And we want to just put that out there, because some people can handle that, some people can't. And we want to make sure that we're being mindful as we talk about this. We're being mindful that everybody's not in the same mental place. So I may be able to handle something that someone else may not be able to handle. And it can be very hard for a person to watch something like that. So we want to be mindful of that as we share, as we, send positive or negative messages out there. We want to be mindful that other people, we could be causing harm by some of the things that we post. Okay. So definitely, just want to kind of chime in to see how everybody is doing on the chat tonight. To also see, if there's anything in particular that you want to talk about. Definitely making sure that you all are aware of what's trending in the news. Eve says, why force someone to watch that? It was very hard, because sometimes you don't know what a video is, and you get something in the inbox, and all of a sudden you go to watch it, and it's something very disturbing. It was something that didn't have a disclaimer to say, be mindful. It didn't say, it didn't have a disclaimer. So definitely putting that out there, that it was very, very difficult to watch. And for those who may get it and you watch it, please take care of yourself, because sometimes those things that we see, what we watch, and what we hear ends up going into our minds and our hearts, and it can mess us up. So we have to be mindful of what we allow ourselves to see. Okay, so I'm just putting a disclaimer out there because it was very disturbing for me. Okay. Tasha says, people don't realize that sharing stuff like this isn't helping, it's causing harm. We've gone through, I know a lot of people in my community have gone through oppression for so many years. So to see something like that happening, it can leave a person feeling hopeless. We talked about that the other day. It can leave a person feeling powerless, and it can disempower people instead of empower. So we got to be mindful of what we share to other people. Be mindful of what you share to other people, because even though you may be able to stomach it and watch it, it's definitely hard for other people to take that on. And we're not all in the same mental place. And I know I'm repeating myself because people coming on, we're not all in the same mental place. So there may be some things that you can handle mentally that I may not be able to handle. And it's so very important that we take care of each other. We got to take care of each other, because if we're disempowering each other, then we're not getting anywhere. We have to learn how to take care of each other. Karita says, I agree with that. For some reason, our society likes to watch violent things like that. It makes no sense. And it's very hard. Society has said that these things are culturally acceptable. So a lot of us have learned to accept this as the norm, and it's not the norm. And we can definitely, and I posted it on Facebook, and I took a step out there. It is definitely something that I don't want to watch. Don't send that to my inbox. I will block you and I will delete you. Because if you are watching that type of stuff, then you're not a part of the solution. In my opinion, you are a part of the problem. And so we have to definitely figure out solutions to the things that we watch. Eve Dallas says, I've been thinking a lot about the 8-year-old boy who was attacked by some classmates in the school bathroom. 2 days later, this baby hung himself. I'm very disturbed by things going on in the schools. Absolutely. I am very disturbed by things going on in school. I was having a conversation the other day that, you know, the way our children are being raised nowadays is totally different than how I grew up. And it's so very important that we be mindful of that. Bullying is real, okay? When our young people reach out or when they start to withdraw, we need to pay attention to those signs. We talk almost every week about someone that's killing themselves. Every segment on the Hour Power so far, we've talked about at least one person who has killed themselves in some way. Listen, suicidality, homicidality, it is all real. And I want you all to know that we have to be mindful of these things that are happening, and we have to create solutions. What is something that we can do to help our school systems? What is something we can do to help educate our children so that they feel like they can talk to someone and not just have to take bullying. Bullying should not be an option anyway, but it's not just happening in the schools anymore. It's happening on social media. It's happening everywhere that you can imagine. So definitely, I appreciate you for bringing that up, Eve, and it's something to talk about. It's something to bring up. He is 8 years old. 8 years old. This is not even a teenager yet. This is very hard. So imagine 8 years old, what could have been going on in this child's mind to make them create a decision like that? And what is society teaching us about life and death? We're taught that, you know, sometimes it's easier to be out of the world. And all of these negative messages that we're sending on a regular basis teach us that, you know, that death is inevitable. And we feel like, you know, well, let me just go ahead and take myself out. We have to be very mindful of those things, even as adults. I can't imagine what it feels like for an 8-year-old to do that. But as an adult, even as an adult, there are people who feel like they can't live through things. And so being mindful of that, I you know, there was someone that is near and dear to my heart, you know, posted the other day, goodbye on Facebook. And it was something that people have to be mindful of, you know, safety planning. How do we take care of our own when we know that these things are going on? Eve says the baby was unconscious, but the school, that's sad. That's so sad. And what do you do? How do you even grow from that? How do you even cope for that? How do you heal when you hear this kind of news? Y'all, this is what we call vicarious trauma. The things that we're talking about, and I need you to take care of yourself, all three of y'all who are on here. We are talking about some heavy stuff, okay? The Hour Power sometimes it can be very heavy, it can be light, and then sometimes it can be very heavy. We're talking about some things today that can be very, very hard. And in the midst of that being hard, we have to recognize that this is vicarious trauma. Like, so Eve, as you're talking about this, it's important that you know how to take care of yourself so that you don't allow that to drain your spirit. It's hard as a mom to not take that on. It's hard as a parent. It's hard as a friend. It's hard as a counselor to not take that on. We have to be mindful, even as we're telling these stories, how we're taking care of ourselves, because we have to take care of us. Otherwise, we're going to be in positions where we're not going to be strong enough to help other people move through. So definitely, Eve, I'm so happy that you brought that out, and so we could just talk about it and say, you know what, this is sad. It's very heavy. It's very painful to watch, recognizing that even in the most painful places, we have to learn how to take care of ourselves so that we're not holding on to that. I don't know how you are with death, Eve, but I don't take death really well. So when I hear people dying and things that are tragically happening, I have to make sure I'm taking care of myself in the midst of that so that I don't fall into this place of depression. And that happens so often. Eve says, we have to talk to our children every single day. My daughter graduates this Saturday, but every single day I ask her about things that's going on in the school and on the school bus. Absolutely. And sometimes being mindful that our children may not talk to us. That sometimes it's like, oh, talking to my parents is not cool. But still giving them room to make decisions, but being mindful of their behaviors and their actions. Congratulations to your daughter who is graduating. I'm very happy that you're able to see your daughter walk across the stage. I think that's amazing. That's beautiful. That's a great accomplishment. And definitely, even as she journeys over to college, if she's going to college, that you're, checking in with her and all of those things as well. Okay. Libra says, I don't take death well. I often withdraw and shut down. Absolutely. And see, y'all, this is, again, why it's so important. The first thing I brought up today about that video going in each other's inbox. We have to be mindful that not everybody responds to death the same. I don't want to see anybody die, let alone see somebody die on the comfort of my own Facebook page. And watching these things or hearing this news, y'all, this is why self-care is so important. What is self-care? Self-care is how do we take care of ourselves? And in the midst of taking care of ourselves, how are we helping each other? When we take care of ourselves, we're putting ourselves in a position where we can handle certain things a little bit better, and it doesn't always work in the greatest way. But taking care of yourself means that, you know what, there's 2 people on this video. There may have been some people who need to check out because this conversation was heavy, and I'm okay with that. If there was nobody on this video, I would still have a conversation about it. Why? Because we need to talk about it, but in the midst of talking about it, we need to know when to check in and check out of the conversation, because sometimes this is too heavy and we need to step out and know when to shut it down. Okay. So we're talking about some heavy stuff today. How is everybody doing? We want to talk about anything else that's come up for folks this week. Did anything happen to you today? Anything happen to you this week? Somebody shared a question with me earlier. If we don't have a topic, I'll bring it up in a little bit. Eve says that some people will get depressed even if they don't know a person, which is why I agree that we have to be careful. Yes, we have to be careful. We have to be careful. We grieve each other all the time, and we carry on things. Y'all, we carry so much weight. Can you imagine somebody telling you all their business and you carrying that weight of somebody's business? Can you imagine if 5 or 10 people are telling you something a day? How much trauma that you're taking on that belongs to someone else, and how important it is that you learn how to project that back to the other person and take care of yourself. Taking care of yourself doesn't mean, you're rude and nasty towards people. It means that you're setting boundaries so that you know that you're safe and you're okay. Because if not, it will make you turn into a depressed person. It will cause you to feel hopeless. It'll cause you to feel powerless. It will cause you to feel all of these things that you know is not a part of your character. So we have to be very careful of what we allow to come into our ear gates and our eye gates. It's so very important. So very important. Okay, so we have 3 folks on today. It is Mother's Day. Again, I'm saying happy Mother's Day to all of you all out there. Hope you all had an amazing day. If there's something that's come up for you this week, this month, today, something trending in the news. I don't really watch the news, so if something is coming up, then definitely bring it out. Something that may have got on your nerves, something that may be funny, something that may have made you laugh this week that you want to share with folks. That's what Our Power is for. I know that the name is kind of vague, but Our Power is designed for you to have a platform to talk about whatever it is that you desire to talk about. So if folks have any questions, comments, and concerns, you're more than welcome to bring that out. Okay? So I'm going to give you a few moments for those who are chiming in. We're talking about, we're just kind of waiting for folks to post questions or post comments or concerns about whatever it is that they may be experiencing this week. I recognize that today may be a hard day. I know that a lot of people have the luxury of having their mother who is alive and all of those things. But today may be a hard day for people. So even recognizing that, being mindful that, everybody doesn't have a mom that's alive that they can give flowers to. And so, giving honor to folks who have passed on today, and just saying, I salute you. Happy Mother's Day, and being mindful of that. It was a very hard day for me to be on Facebook, and I didn't really talk a whole lot to a lot of people. Just transparently speaking, it is Mother's Day, and it's a very hard day. And so recognizing that, how that can impact other people as well. We only have 4 viewers. We usually have a lot of viewers on the Hour of Power, but it's so very important that people take care of themselves on today. Tasha says, I'm sad because my grandmother isn't here to enjoy Mother's Day. Amen. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you are bringing that out. Why? Because death is real, right? Death is so real. And so often we find ourselves in places where we don't know how to deal with it. And then holidays like this come, and it's like almost this pressure and this weight that comes upon you. You don't know how to process what you're feeling. And so I definitely appreciate you for bringing it out. I lost a grandmother as well. I have my mother who is alive, but just having a very dysfunctional relationship is very hard to celebrate Mother's Day. And so recognizing that, we're bringing all of this to the table and saying, y'all, it may be a hard day for some, it may be an easy day for others, but this is the place where we talk about it, right? It's a very hard day for me. I'm being transparent, but I love you all, and I know that this Hour of Power empowers me. Even though I'm facilitating the group, it empowers me. So I definitely want to put that out there for those who are having a rough day today. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what brings it out, because if we only grieve on Mother's Day, then we'll never get through certain things. Okay, we want to make sure that we're talking these things out. Hey Dre, hey Nikki, I hope that you all are having a good day. Okay. Dre says, today has been kind of rough. I have a mom, but because of my lifestyle, she's been pretty distant. Okay. And I appreciate you for bringing that out. That could be hard, right? There are a lot of people who have mothers alive. My mother's alive and well, and I'm still having a hard day or whatever. So I definitely appreciate you for being transparent and putting that out there. It is hard to say, you know what, I'm celebrating my Mother's Day when your mother doesn't talk to you. And so bringing that out and saying that out loud can help. So Dre, I appreciate you for being transparent. I appreciate that. So I thank you for the support to one another. Eve says, on holidays, I try to reach out to people I know who have lost their moms. Absolutely. And that can be something that brightens people's day. It can be something that that's painful, but recognizing that I'm celebrating all of you out there and saying Happy Mother's Day. And even if you are not in connection with your mother, I want to say I love you out there, and I hope that you all find a way to have a good day. And even if you have a horrible day, I hope that you will get through it, and you'll get through it with strength and power, because you're strong. Everybody who's watching right now, you're strong. For those who may not be going through anything with their mother, you're still strong. And I applaud you and I salute you for that, okay? Hey, Auntie, Happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to Grandma as well. Nikki, we're gonna go into that, okay? Right in just a few seconds, okay? Nikki says, I just found out that my girlfriend has been cheating on me. That's heavy. That is heavy. And you say you feel like you want to die, and that's hard, right? That's hard. I will say that life is so full of ups and downs. And y'all, as we're talking, encourage Nikki. You know how we do on this page. For those who don't know, who have never been on here, when we talk about heavy stuff, we encourage one another. Why? Because it is sometimes that encouragement that pulls us through to a greater place. It is sometimes that encouragement that tells us, you know what? I'm going to be able to make it through this. And so, Nikki, I'm sending you my heart. And I'm telling you right now that I know that you'll get through this. You are so strong. From the time we first met, I don't know how long you've been on my page, but from the time we have been connected, you have showed a sign of strength. And I was, this whole week, I'm happy that you're bringing this out. This whole week, I've been listening to Whitney Houston. I love Whitney Houston. And one of the things that I love about Whitney Houston is her song called I Didn't Know My Own Strength. And I shared this the other day, but I'm going to share it again because this song is so powerful. It says, I crashed down and I tumbled, but I did not crumble. I got through all of my pain. I didn't know my own strength. Sometimes in order for us to tap into our strength, we have to go through some of the darkest hours. And it don't always feel good. It don't always seem good. It don't always feel fun. It doesn't always produce a laugh. But it's in those moments where we are able to produce deep strength. And I wanted you to know that even though you just found out some horrible news about your girlfriend and her cheating on you, it is so important that you know that you are still enough, that you are still loved, and you are still valued. Oftentimes, we would place our value, I'm just flowing with the Holy Spirit today. Oftentimes, we would place our value on what other people feel about us. And we would think that because we're being cheated on and because people are looking at us a different way, it's because of a reflection of us. And I want you to know today that it is not a reflection of you. What has happened to you in this season, what is happening to you with your girlfriend, what is happening to you in your relationship has nothing to do with who you are as a person. It has all to do with who she is not as a person for you. And so oftentimes when people make the decision to leave and they make the decision to cheat and they make the decision to move forward, it is a sign that they were immature and they were not mature enough to deal with you. So I don't want you to internalize this message. And if you do, we're going to fight that thing. But it's so easy to internalize messages of not being enough. It's so easy to internalize messages of not being worthy, not being amazing, not being any of the good things that you feel like you are. But I want you to know today that you are still loved. I'm looking at you. Let me see. I think I'm making eye contact now. You are still loved. You are still amazing. You are still powerful. You are still a picture of strength. And I want you to keep pushing ahead. Why? Because it's so important that you don't allow what people do to you to not break you. And it's hard when you really love somebody with your heart. It's hard when you love someone and you feel betrayed. You feel hurt. You feel pain. You feel like you can't even go on. It's hard. But something in you, there's an inner strength in you that I see in you. And I want to encourage you to keep moving forward. Why? Because there's greatness on the inside of you. And all of these things that come is only to pull you to a greater place of strength. Okay? I know that may not help you in your crying spells and all of those things, but just know that you are valued and you are loved. You are valued and you are loved. And even if you have to cry and lay in your bed, look and get up in the morning, look in the mirror while you're brushing your teeth, tell yourself, I am valued and I am loved. I will not let someone's lack of worth for me or lack of having a value of me to deter me from having value in myself. Okay? I hope that makes sense for you. Libra says, that's very hard. I just went through it as well. It took us a while, but we're back on track. Hopefully one day that will happen for you. Thank you so much, Libra, for that. And thank you for the encouragement. Thank you so much for the encouragement. Eve Dallas says, you can't die. The best thing you can do is, I think it's a typo. Show her how happy you are in your future. It's okay to cry. Absolutely, it's okay to cry. And y'all, I don't know why, but society has taught us for years that we don't need to cry. Society has taught us for years that we don't have to feel pain. That it's a sign of weakness when we cry, when we're upset, when we're sad, and all of those things. But it is okay to cry. It is okay to cry, y'all. I cry all the time. Y'all see me on here laughing, and y'all see me on here smiling. Y'all see me on here together. But when I go to my therapist, when I go different places, I cry because it's important to have that release. Tell yourself it's okay to have that release. It's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. But you're going to wake up one morning and it's not going to hurt anymore. You're going to wake up one morning and it's not going to be as hard. You're going to wake up one morning and it's going to feel a little lighter. And when you get to that place, you know that you're experiencing a new healing. So I encourage you to keep fighting because it's not going to be easy, but I encourage you to keep fighting. Thank you all for the encouragement. My auntie says, Nikki, we need you to survive. You are important to all of us because you possess something within that can help us all. Absolutely. Thank you, auntie, for saying that. That means so much because I think sometimes we forget, Nikki, when you come on here, like there's an imprint that you have left on the Breaking Chains Project page. I want you to know that you're just as much a family as everyone else that's on this video. Even the people who are watching for the first time, you are just as much as family today. And I want you to know that you do add something. You add value that can help us all. So, auntie, I thank you for saying that because so often we get into the routine of connecting with people and all of these things. But that's great. But we forget to tell people sometimes how much they matter to us. And you matter to us, Nikki. It's hard. But I appreciate you for having the strength enough to come in here. You didn't have to come in here and say something. You could have stayed in your own shell and just hid. You could have stayed off Facebook and you cried all day, but you chose to come on here and you chose to bring this to the table, and we're choosing now to support you and love you through this. Okay, whatever it is that you need, if you need a conversation, if you need someone to hold your hands up, then that's okay. We'll be that for you. Why? Because encouragement is the way that we get through. Empowerment is the way that we get through. That's how we get healed. That's how we become happy. That's why we find wholeness. And I want you to know that we are here for you. Okay. So, Libra says she's right. She wasn't mature enough to deal with you and be truthful. She couldn't face you. She lost a good person. If anything, she did you a favor to open you up to someone who deserves and will honor you. You know what I say? You know what I say sometimes? And Nikki, if you have to go, that's fine. You have to, I'm going to say this. If you have to go, that's okay. You have to chime into your truth. But you come back to this video if you ever feel it, and it will still be encouraging you, okay? But one of the things I say is when people walk out of our lives, and so often we cry and we grieve people who walk out of our lives. But for me, that's the trash taking itself out. And I know that sounds horrible. I know that sounds like, oh, Robin, you probably shouldn't have said that. But sometimes when we have people in our lives that are toxic, that are taking up too much space, that are pulling us into a place of negativity, that are pulling us into a place of depression, that are pulling us into a place of garbage, and they leave our lives, it is the trash taking itself out. And so often we need to honor those spaces. You know what? When one door closes, there's so many good doors that come open. It's so amazing to me. It was a season in my life some years ago where I had to cut one person off. And by the time I cut that one person off, God blessed me with a double portion of a whole lot of other stuff. Why? Because sometimes we hold on to toxic to have something here. And that's not what God wants. That's not God's best for us. It's not God's best. And sometimes because we don't know who we are and what it is that we want, we will hold on to garbage as opposed to grabbing to something that's healthy and that's whole. Listen, y'all, this is not the season for us to keep going through garbage towns, okay? This is the season for us to move into healing. This is the season for us moving into happiness. And Nikki, if you're still watching, this is a cleansing for you. I just want you to know that from the outside looking in, this is a cleansing from you. Everything that's happened to you in this past, where you are, where you've been and where you're going, everything, all of that is cleansing for you. Sometimes God will take us through the trenches. I read this book one time. I don't remember the title of it, but I do remember the first chapter. The first chapter says the way up is down. Sometimes in order for us to get to where God wants us to be, in order for us to be great, great, in order for us to move into our place of success, into our place of healing, into our place of wholeness, into our place of happiness, we got to go down. That means that he has to literally take us down and allow all of the garbage to fall off so that we can move forward and we can be free. Y'all, it is a beautiful thing to be free. It's a beautiful thing to be free from the bondage of other people. It's a beautiful thing to be free from the garbage that other people try to put on you. And when we try to hold on to that, it only keeps us in a place of bondage. It only keeps us in a place of unhappiness. Sometimes it's through that decision to say, you know what? I love you, but I love me more. When we make that decision, it helps us to pull into a place where we can be healed, happy, and whole. I know we want Nikki to stay on, and that's fine. I want Nikki to stay on as well, but we also have to respect everybody's choice, right? So if she decides to get off the page today, then she could come back, right? We have to empower people to make their own decisions. So many times in life, we make decisions for other people. No, don't do that. No, you got to do this. And we tell people all of the time, and it becomes difficult and people feel under pressure. So definitely, Nikki, if you are off the page, then we still love you. If you come back on the page, we still love you, okay? So we're going to move forward. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some other topics. It's about 6:30. So, we have 30 minutes for you. We have about 30 minutes, and we want to make sure that we're covering all topics. If there was something that came up for you this week, we want to encourage you to talk about it. We're going to try to cover the topic, okay? Absolutely. Auntie, I really appreciate this as well. Nikki, live for you. It's okay to hurt, but don't stay there. Auntie, you own it today. I really appreciate that, right? I really appreciate that. And so often we are living for other people. Y'all, we have lived for other people for too long. And I said the other night, and I will say it again, and I believe it was one of the videos. I think it was hopelessness. Sometimes we neglect ourselves waiting on other people to rescue us. And that's real, y'all. That's powerful. We neglect who we are. We neglect everything about what we stand on. We neglect everything about what we know we need to do for ourselves in order for someone else to rescue us. And then we end up really broken in the end because no one comes to our rescue. And we didn't even come to our own rescue. We find ourselves at a place of hopelessness, to a place where we can't even get up no more, a place we can't even wake up in the morning and see a new day. We get to the place where we're so loaded. We're ready to blow our brains out. We're ready to kill it all. We're ready to let go of everything. And we have to pull ourselves out of that place. And we have to make the decision, y'all. We have to make a decision. Each and every one of us on this video have to make a decision that we're going to live better. I can't make it for you. You can't make it for me. I have to make a decision that I'm going to live better. I'm going to move better. I'm going to move it to a place of healing. I'm going to move it to a place of happiness and wholeness. And you have to make that decision as well. As you make that decision, life will continue to shift. The universe will continue to shift. God will continue to allow things to happen in your life that will move in the direction of your choice. Yes, Dre, every now and then you got to have that spring cleaning. You do. Spring cleaning is real. And we're so programmed because we're accustomed, and I'm saying we as a community, as a culture, not necessarily you, but as a community, so many people have felt like, well, people don't stay in my life, that when we finally get something that even remotely seems to be good, we want to hold on to it, even if it becomes toxic for us. And this is not the season for that anymore. I want you to have enough strength to say, you know what? I love me more, and I'm willing to sacrifice the happiness of others in order for me to be well. Because let me tell you something, if you're not happy, then no one else around you will ever be happy. No matter what you do to make other people happy, if you're neglecting yourself, it's still not going to work. And I know that sounds horrible. I know we want it to work, but it's not how it goes. If you're not at your best self, how can anyone else love you at your best? Because you're not investing into your best. We have to learn how to invest in ourselves as well as others, okay? Dre says, I was feeling a little defeated at work. Been in the business for 11 years and feeling stuck in my current position. I've been going to classes, getting credentials, but steadily seeing others promoted. Decided to talk to my boss about it and didn't get the response I respected. Well, Dre, I first of all appreciate you for bringing that out. I think that's very important that you say that. You've been in the business for 11 years. That's already a sacrifice. That's already like a commitment. That is already like a sign of strength, and just doing one job for 11 years. In the midst of that, we talked about this the other night. I don't know if you got an opportunity to watch our video on hopelessness, but there are a lot of people who feel stuck. That is the sign of hopelessness, when people feel stuck, like they can't move beyond where they are. And even in the midst of that, that, I applaud you for bringing it to your supervisor, right? You brought it to your supervisor, and you say you didn't get the response that you wanted, but you still talked about it. You didn't hold it in. So that is a sign, first of all, that you're not afraid of talking about some of the things that you care about the most. That's a good thing. What I want to encourage you to do is continue to go through your credentialing. Listen, let me tell y'all a secret, because somebody asked me this the other day. They said, how long did it take you to get your bachelor's degree? It took you 4 years, right? No, it didn't take you. It took me 8 years and 5 colleges to get my bachelor's degree. Yeah, I'm putting it out there, Dre. I'm exposing that. Why? Because I want you to know that even though it seems like it's 11 years, you're still not too late for an advancement. You're still not too late for growth. You're still not too late for improvement. You're still not too late for delayed is not denied. Whenever you're going through a season of drought, you have to figure out, and I applaud you for getting the credentials and starting to do all those things. You have to find the place and the niche that keeps you moving forward. And if that is getting, taking classes and getting extra credentials, great. But I want you to know that in the right time, in the season that is expected for you, you will continue to advance. Why? Because you have the heart, you have dedication. And it's hard, y'all. It took me 8 years and 5 colleges to graduate with my bachelor's degree. And I'm here, and I'm still able to move forward and launch a business and do things. Even though it was 8 long years, I still am able. I'm in my master's classes right now. It's very hard to talk about it, but it's a blessing to know that even though it took 8 years, and where it takes people 4 years in other capacities, I still got to where I needed to be. So I want to encourage you, Dre, to keep your head up, to know that we sometimes put time frames on what it is that we want to do, but it's so important that you know that you're valued where you are. And if you don't feel valued, then there are so many other options for you. Sometimes we limit ourselves from the options that we have because we feel like we have to stay in this field or we have to do this. But I want to encourage you and let you know that you can, if you have to leave the state, that you can, there are other opportunities for you. There are people who will value you and love you where you are and how your work ethic is and all of those things. So I want you to know that there are options for you. And I want to encourage you to grab a hold to that. Look at what some of your options are and see how that can impact you. Thank you, Eve. Eve says, I'm proud of you for sticking with it. Sometimes it's hard. The time frames or our age makes us want to quit. It does. Y'all, it makes me depressed every time I see people. This is the time of year where I would get sad because I see people with their cap and gown. And for 8 years, I had to watch people get an advancement. I had to watch people like graduate. I had to watch people go through these things. And I'm like, God, where's my advancement? I've been doing this thing for years. Where's my advancement? And it took me 8 years. But now I can happily say that I have my bachelor's degree and I'm excited about that. So definitely excited about you sharing. Thank you, Auntie, for the encouragement. Thank you for all of the topics that you all are bringing up. It is 6:36, y'all. Just want to make sure that for folks who are just tuning in, Hour of Power is designed for you to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. For those who want to share, there are folks who just like to come on and listen. But for folks who like to share, so far we've talked about, death and Mother's Day. We've talked about so many different topics already. Infidelity in relationships. We talked about all of that. And so we want to give you all the opportunity, y'all. If you all want to, please share this live today, Hour of Power. We're talking about sometimes it's a heavy stuff, sometimes it's lighter stuff. We want to definitely let you all know that we are here to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about today. So if something came up for you this week, something came up for you this month, if something happened this morning, you stumped your toe, then talk about it. This is what we're here for. We like to have conversations about these things. Why? Because we want to make sure that you can start your week off in a healthy, healed, and whole place. And so if having a conversation is going to help you get to a better place, we definitely want to facilitate that for you. So we're going to open up the floor and ask folks if there's something that people want to talk about. Dre, if you want something else to say about what you were just talking about, we're definitely open for that. But definitely, y'all, let's talk about some stuff. What's come up for you this week? What's going on in your head? How are you feeling? Just talk to me. Eve says it goes back to comparing ourselves to other people. Comparing our progress to other people can be just as bad as comparing how we look. We do it all the time. Absolutely. Absolutely. We compare ourselves all the time. We measure ourselves up all the time. Okay, Libra had a good question. Let me go back right quick. I apologize, Libra. I didn't see your question. Libra. If you're still on, can you Can you post the question again? Because I don't see it. You sure it's okay? Okay. I don't see your question. I didn't see it in my feed, so I definitely want to definitely talk about it. What you have to say is very important. So definitely bringing the question to the forefront. Okay. Wow, this is a good question. I wasn't prepared for this today. Okay. So is the product/result of hopelessness a passive version of self-hate? That was a very good. That is a very good question. I want to know what folks think about that as well. There are 7 people watching. If you're able to answer this question, or you feel comfortable answering this question, then definitely bring it to the table. The question is the product/result of hopelessness, right? So the end result of hopelessness, is it a passive version of self-hate? And I have an answer. And I thank you, Libra, for asking this question. This is very good. This is very good. So I'll start the conversation while I'm waiting on folks to bring it out. But I would say yes, it is a passive version of self-hate. In other words, when we get to a place of hopelessness, some of the symptoms of hopelessness would lead to self-hate behaviors. So it's connected. So I definitely want to bring that out. Like hopelessness leads to suicidality, right? Hopelessness leads to hurting ourselves or wanting to harm ourselves, whether that is, punishing ourselves in whatever ways, which can be a sign also of self-hate. It can be internalized. And we talked about this thing, internalized messages that I'm not worthy, internalized messages that I don't deserve this, internalized messages that I'm not a good person. And that can lead to self-hate. So it's so interconnected, Libra. And I want you to, if you do have time, please go back to the live video on hopelessness, because we did talk about those symptoms and how we can almost mirror, we can almost talk about how horrible of people we are because of how low we feel, because of the circumstances. Because we allow our circumstances to now dictate who we are. That is the biggest piece about hopelessness. Hopelessness doesn't have to be hopelessness, right? It could be you lost your job. Okay, that's an incident that happened. It doesn't have to turn into hopelessness. What turns it into hopelessness is when we begin to grab a hold to these false realities of ourselves. We begin to hold on to things that, oh, you know what, I lost my job because I'm not worthy. And we begin to say these things to ourselves, and we begin to rehearse them, and they become a belief. And before you know it, we're a picture of self-hate. We are harming ourselves in ways that we don't realize it. Alcoholism, suicidality. We are harming ourselves with substance abuse. We're harming ourselves with addictions of all sorts. We are harming ourselves with gluttony. We're harming ourselves in so many ways. We're punishing ourselves by having multiple sex partners. And all of these things that we're doing to ourselves to punish ourselves for something that started off as an isolated event. Y'all, hopelessness is real. And it starts off as something that could be changed if our mindsets were willing to be different. Does that make sense? I want to make sure that makes sense to folks. Hopelessness is one of those things that can impact so many lives. It's impacting so many lives. Let's be honest. There may be somebody on here right now who still feel hopeless. Watch the video, may not have watched the video, but come on today like, you know what, let me just listen to this because I don't have nothing else. But it's real. You have to be willing. Yes, auntie, you have to be willing to say, I'm not going to allow me losing my job. I'm not going to allow me having bad credit. I'm not going to allow my financial status. I'm not going to allow what my mama said about me or what my cousins and them said. I'm not going to allow my identity. I'm not going to allow any of these factors that people don't agree with, or that these tragic things that happen to me. I'm not going to allow them to pull me into a place of hopelessness, but I'm going to pull on the one positive piece. And I'm going to hold on to some form of hope, because I know that things have to get better. Y'all, we just talked about this. The way up is down. Sometimes it's inevitable in life that we're going to hit a rock bottom. Why? Because at the rock bottom, the only thing that can happen at that point is that you come back up. And that's the positive. If you have nothing else to hold on to, at least you know that when you hit rock bottom, when everything fails, when all the doors close, when you can't get no loan, when you ain't got nothing, you ain't got no car, you walking everywhere you got to go. When you get to that rock bottom, the only thing that can happen is that you have to come up. And that's the positive. That's the positive. That's what you take from that. We have to learn how to hold on to some form of positive. We are living in a horrible time, right? And if we would allow the news to, it'll drive us crazy. If we allow the radio to, it'll drive us crazy. If we allow some of our family members to, it will drive us crazy. We have to find that piece of hope, that piece of positivity, and turn it into something that will make a difference in your life. My piece of positivity when I feel low is singing. I love to sing. Libra says, I've turned that frustration on me. I'm the common denominator. Yes, we are our worst critics, right? And I tell people all the time, Libra, even though we look down on ourselves, even though sometimes we have moments where we're like, oh, I look horrible today. Whatever, we have those moments. We cannot live in it. That's when it becomes a disease, a dis-ease or disease. It becomes that when we allow ourselves to live in what we feel. And so we have to find ways and coping strategies on how to not live in that. Whether that's surrounding yourself with people that love you. Can you ask that question another way? So am I hating myself, or I'm on the line of proper healing? What do you mean when you say, what are you pertaining to in particular? Can you ask that question again? I'm happy to answer it. When you live in that place though, if that's what you're asking, based on what I'm saying, when you're living in that place, it can easily turn into self-hate. Okay? When you are living in a place of feeling like you are the problem and you're harming yourself, that can be the start of self-hate, and it can be recorrected. So maybe that answers your question. Am I hating myself, or am I on the line of proper healing? It depends on how you are viewing yourself right now. Are you viewing yourself as the problem, or are you viewing yourself as part of the solution? Listen, that was real good. I know that was real simple, but that just blessed my whole spirit. Are you living as a part of the problem? Meaning, are you allowing yourself to live in this place of I'm defeated, I'm not good, I'm not worthy? Or are you living as a part of the solution? You know what? This unfortunate thing has happened to me, but I'm determined that I'm not going to take no for an answer. I'm determined that I'm going to accept this. I'm determined that I'm going to keep moving. I'm determined that I'm going to do better. I'm determined that I'm going to continue to grow. I'm determined that I'm going to keep pushing through this. I'm determined that I'm going to heal. I'm determined that I'm going to be better. I'm determined that I'm going to do better. And that's when it separates between whether you're healing or if you full of self-hate, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So we have to look at ourselves. We have to analyze sometimes. Are we a part of our own problem? Sometimes we're our worst critics to the point we become our own problem. And it's so hard. It's hard to pull through that. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, Libra. So yes, taking care of transitioning your thinking. Y'all, let me tell you something. Depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress syndrome, bipolar, schizophrenia, there's some that's extreme. Bipolar and schizophrenia are a little extreme when you talk about mental illness, but the depression, the anxiety, all of those things, they can be holistically transitioned through our mind. Meaning, we have the power to make a decision whether we're going to allow stress and we're going to allow all of these unfortunate situations to change us inwardly. We have the power to transition that for our lives. And I want to encourage you on that, because sometimes we feel like we're losing our minds because of all of the stuff that's going on. We have the power to choose if we're going to allow it to cause us to lose our mind, if we're going to allow it to cause us to lose everything that we have, if we're going to allow it to take us to a place that we are living in our own self-hate. We have the choice. Okay? All right, so y'all, it's 6:46. We have about 15 or 14 more minutes. I like to be time sensitive. I know that folks have things to do. Folks may be wanting to watch their show and, get ready for tomorrow. Is there anything that has come up for folks this week, this month, today, trending in the news, stuff that's going on that you want to share, that you want to talk about? It's so very important that your voice is heard. So often we would internalize these things that we're feeling. And oftentimes when we internalize it, it turns into places. No problem, Libra. Anytime. It turns into things. It turns into things that we don't necessarily want to take on. But I want to encourage you all to just continue to hold on, continue to stay steadfast, continue to be strengthened by each other. if not through yourself, just through each other. Clinging on to someone you love can be so powerful when you're going through. Definitely, Teresina, you says, say a prayer for me. I'm not comfortable sharing on live. That's fine. But every Mother's Day is bittersweet for me. I have a son that is not as connected to me anymore because of my parents' influence on him, of me being with women. Absolutely. I definitely will send up some prayers for you today, and let you know that, as we talk about folks, today we've talked about people having the power of choice, and the power of choice is so real, and I'm sorry that that's going on for you. And in that, I pray that you'll find peace, and I pray that you'll find comfort, and I pray that you'll find strength, because it can be hard, it can be isolating, it can be painful. So I'm definitely sending my heart out to you today, and we're praying for you in the midst of what it is that you're going through today on Mother's Day. Thank you for sharing, and I know that you don't want to get into details, and I really appreciate you